Greetings, colleagues. The historic inauguration of the J.I.S.A Parents and Guardians Association was a very powerful and defining moment in the evolution of the private education sector of Jamaica. I felt like a massive movement has been activated and a huge void has been filled in the education landscape. The voice of the parents and guardians of the private education sector has been aroused. They are a very important and productive people group in the nation of Jamaica. And now that they are ready to speak about their concerns, everyone must and will sit up and listen to what they have to say. And before going further, I must acknowledge the willingness of our president, Dr. Faithful Wilson, to facilitate something which did not start with her. We began drawing up plans for the mobilizing of the parents and guardians of J.I.S.A from 2013, when I was president of J.I.S.A. But it was not to be until now for this time, when Jamaica and the rest of the world are walking through a crisis like no other in the history of mankind. The president of J.I.S.A, Dr. Faithful Wilson, was willing to throw her support behind this development, and it tells of a visionary leadership and humility of spirit, which are critical hallmarks of great leaders. As the national liaison for the parents and guardians, I want to say thank you, Dr. Wilson and team. I must also acknowledge all of the principals who allowed representatives of their parent bodies to participate in the planning and execution of the inauguration of this movement of the J.I.S.A Parents and Guardians Association. As I alluded to, after a few efforts along the way at the regional level, this was the first time that parents and guardians were being mobilized at the national level. And it was a very, very remarkable occasion. Being present at the birthing of something special is always an incredible experience. And that is what took place last Thursday, 21st of January, 2021. Joining the J.I.S.A Parents and Guardians Planning Team and the J.I.S.A President and some members of the executive was the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, the Honorable Favor Williams, along with the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Grace McLean, and other team members from the ministry. We also had members of the media and, most importantly, 233 parents representatives from 52 private schools from all over the island. There was a real sense of excitement and expectation. Within 5 minutes of start time, the Zoom platform was maxed out, and we had to send the overflow of persons to the YouTube channel. We could not get the J.I.S.A YouTube channel up in time, so we had to stream through the Northgate Youth and Family Development Foundation channel, which is run by my church organization. So thank you to the Northgate Youth and Family Development team for facilitating. The program started with a very short but rich time of devotions led by a team from the Northgate High School, which was spearheaded by Mrs. Eva Gibbs. Her exhortation set a very strong stage for the rest of the day. A very sound and motivating presentation was shared by the president of J.I.S.A, Dr. Faithful Wilson, who gave the parents insight into the journey and the vision of J.I.S.A. Parents were able to see the context of private school education in Jamaica. They were able to appreciate the current challenges and how the schools were coping and ensuring that the standards and focus of the sector remain strong. They saw the importance of partnering with J.I.S.A during this time of crisis. We then had a very insightful presentation made by the director of J.I.S.A Business, Mrs. Donna Lowe. Parents and guardians were given insight into the corporate partners and investors of private school education. Donna also took time to speak about the spending power of the parents and guardians and the importance of parents to understand how the strategic use of this spending power will strengthen the partnership. It will strengthen the standing of private school sectors in Jamaica, and most importantly, it will add short-term and long-term benefits for their children. I think that the parents got the message. They had to support those who were supporting their children. I then spoke to the parents and guardians about the importance of correctly guiding their children through the crisis. Parents were sensitive to the potentially broad negative impact which the current and future crises may be having on their children. We looked at the impact on their health, their financial well-being, their social welfare, their psychological development, their education and spiritual growth. The feedback and comments from the parents suggested that what they were hearing meant a lot to them. The objectives of J.I.S.A parents and guardians were also shared with them, and the reception from the parents was very, very good. The Honorable Minister of Education, Youth and Information then shared with the parents. And I must say that I think that the attitude and relational approach of this particular minister is very refreshing. In fact, she was making ready to come down to Ocho Rios to stream from my location during the day. But I told her that it was not necessary. She can do it from her office. Minister Favell was very generous and unhurried as she patiently shared with the parents and dealt with their concerns and questions. The issues which came up for discussions were wide-ranging, and parents from all levels of schools would have been happy that their particular concerns were addressed. It was not just about the prep schools, as is the general perception of J.I.S.A. It was wide-ranging. Here are some comments and feedback from some of the parent representatives.
Morning, my name is Carolyn Stewart, and I am a proud parent of the Liberty Learning Center family. As I reflect on the recently held annual general meeting of J.I.S.A, the Jamaica Independent Schools Association, I am walking away with comfort, knowing that we have positioned ourselves as an organization to meet the needs of our children. Firstly, I think it is clear that we understand fully the environment that is required for our children to maximize their full potential. And as an organization, J.I.S.A is ready to create that environment to make sure that our children get the very best quality education. Secondly, it is very profound in all the discussions that we had that J.I.S.A is willing to work with the Ministry of Education and that they are committed to upholding the standards of the Ministry of Education to make sure that as private schools, our standard is high and we really do not compromise the safety or the well-being of any of our children. Finally, as I reflect on all the discussions, it is very clear that we also understand the importance of partnership. And so the discussions that were held about the persons who sponsor us and how it is that we communicate and how we relate with them, it is clear that we understand that in order to parent our children fully, we must have partnership, solid partnership with our stakeholders and our community members. And so moving forward, I think that good things are ahead. I think that J.I.S.A is positioned itself to face this new normal. It will never be the way it was before, but I have no doubt that we are ready, and moving forward, we will make sure that our children remain paramount in the plans that we have and the focus that we have to make sure that in everything we do, in everything we say, all the decisions we make, our children and their best interests will be our main focus. Thank you.
Good day. My name is Avia Gibbs. I am a parent and I am also part of the team at Northgate High School. It was an absolute privilege to be a part of the inaugural meeting of the J.I.S.A parents and guardians. It was a significant moment. There was a sense of community that pervaded the atmosphere. In as much as it was online, there was a sense of a deepening of the bonds of interaction that I have had with the Jamaica Independent School Association over the years. It was as though J.I.S.A was brought closer to us. It was the meeting had a very personal sense. The atmosphere, it was very personal, and this I found to be so significant in the time of a pandemic, which means that this meeting has positioned the organization to be more relevant in a time when persons actually do crave that personal touch.
This is Tracy and Gordon. My main takeaway from the meeting last Thursday with the J.I.S.A was that we need to spend our money where our funds is coming from to assist our students and our private schools, mainly because the government and the Ministry of Education, they don't do much for private school. So it is important that parents spend their money where their sponsors are coming from. Thank you.
I'd like to extend congrats to Dr. Caitlin Wilson and her J.I.S.A exec for the recently concluded J.I.S.A Parents and Guardians meeting. It was really a wonderful 4 hours, just over 4 hours of time spent. It was chock full of information. We thank our private sector partners, and it was really, really good to recognize that we are powerful together as parents and guardians along with J.I.S.A and our other collaborators. My takeaways from the session included that it's the perfect time for us as J.I.S.A parents and guardians to make our voices heard. We are many in number, and we need to come together and be loud and proud. I also took away from the session that it's the perfect time to be a part of the collaboration to re-envision what private school education looks like and what we have to offer. And I look forward to more sessions like this being held for J.I.S.A parents and guardians. Thank you once again, Dr. Wilson and team.
The Parents and Guardians General Meeting was a historical and memorable event. It seemed a lot of parents and guardians were just hungry for such an event, and the Zoom platform reached maximum capacity in a very short time. My takeaway was an acknowledgement that J.I.S.A has a significant role to play in the growth and development of our children, as well as in the support and building of relationships among parents and guardians and teachers. There is power in numbers, and the more we collaborate, the greater the impact. The meeting provided encouragement, wise counsel, and well-needed information. And it was really special to have Honorable Minister Favour Williams and other senior members of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information team standing alongside the J.I.S.A executive. It is very important for us to appreciate the value of building relationships, of working together, as this will help us to achieve more for our children and for our country. I look forward to continued meetings such as this, where we can work together for the betterment of our country.
Hi everyone. The J.I.S.A Parent and Guardian meeting that was held last week was a real excellent one. I mean, I was totally blown away by the turnout of the parents. It was beyond what I expected. The presenters came, they were well prepared, and they shared. I learned so much. I learned about the history of J.I.S.A. I also learned how to manage myself during the crisis and also to help my children to manage during the crisis. The minister and her team, they came and they shared what the government had in store for us, and that was really excellent. Overall, the day was magnificent. What I'll take away though, and I go back to the number thing, is that we as parents at private schools recognize that there is power in numbers. And us coming together have a lot to do, a lot to say. So I'm looking forward to what is to come and to work together with the rest of parents to make J.I.S.A a more formidable body here in Jamaica.
Hello everyone, my name is Donna Lowe and I'm the treasurer of J.I.S.A. I was very privileged to be present at the inaugural meeting of the Parents and Guardians General Meeting for private schools last week. And in the same way that J.I.S.A has been able to galvanize our private schools to be a very strong and supportive group, I mean, that's the reason that we're able to survive sometimes, because we stand strong together. And I feel that with the initiative of this group, Parents and Guardians Association, that it will represent the same thing for the largest body of stakeholders, which are our parents. And this creates a platform for you to represent and air the concerns that you have for your children. And I was just so pleased to be able to witness that, we were able to connect parents from all over the island, from many different private schools, that were able to connect you to our Minister of Education, the Honorable Favour Williams, where you had the opportunity to just share your concerns and have them responded to immediately. And you are the largest voice out there, and I think it's high time that your voices are heard and that you come together as a body to represent your children, because too often children in the private schools are forgotten or treated differently, and we need to change that perception. So I'm very happy that this has been launched, and I look forward to just working with you guys and creating some, I don't want to use the word storms, but can you have a good storm? Creating good storms, lots of rumble, that we're making things happen so that we can support our children even better than we are now. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Next steps include, number one, we're going to put more structure into the movement by establishing the J.I.S.A Parents and Guardians National Committee. Secondly, we want to establish at least a small parent and guardians committee in each region. We've got 7 regions in Jamaica. We want to have at least a small committee of 2 or 3 parents, dependable and faithful persons. And when these people are established, when these groups are established, we want all of the principals and PTA presidents to respond to them and support them. And thirdly, we want to be planning for the Parents and Guardians National Conference. This time, we do not just want representatives. We want all of our parents to be there at some point or the other. We're considering a 2-day interaction, Wednesday 19th to Tuesday 20th of May 2021. And this date will have to be ratified by the J.I.S.A executive, but as far as I know, there are no other events around that time, so I feel very confident that this will be the permanent arrangement. Our future plans include, we want to have one major gathering of the J.I.S.A Parents and National Association every school term. So principals and school leaders, please get ready to support that. We also want to establish a J.I.S.A Parents and Guardians Scholarship Fund, so that we can assist our students who may need help from time to time. We want to establish a social media platform, maybe a Facebook page and a Twitter handle, and other forms of social media, so that we can communicate constantly with our parents and be in touch with them. We want to develop partnerships with those sponsors and players inside of corporate Jamaica who are always supporting private school development. We want to find out who they are, connect with them, make arrangements, and send all of our parents to them to spend our little money. And we want to conduct parent empowerment workshops at each region each year And these are issues we want to discuss and look at for the future as soon as we get our first steps in place. In closing, let me commend the parents who worked with me to put the program together. We had several meetings leading up to the inaugural event, and these parents were always willing to sacrifice their time and energy. They are all excited and looking forward to taking things to the next level, and they were all very, very pleased with the program on Thursday. It is very obvious that the Lord has really helped us, and we want to give Him thanks. He's given us wisdom and energy to do this work. The movement of the J.I.S.A parents and guardians is here to stay. The Holy Spirit, represented by that dove inside of the J.I.S.A logo, He is guiding us along the way. The journey continues, and I want to say thanks to all of the J.I.S.A school leaders for facilitating. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day.